Hey, this is Jerry Boutot. I'd like to welcome you to a new series of videos I'll be doing called Exploring the Lyrics, for lack of a better term. Um, some of the lyrics on some of my songs are pretty interesting, and I can't find the person inside me that wrote them in the first place in some cases. But let's do it together. A lot of my lyrics were written many years ago when I was young and didn't know any better. So anyway, we're gonna talk about Cold Cruel World. So let me get the song started in the background, and you can kind of listen to it in the background while I'm talking about the lyrics. So Cold Cruel World is track one from the Life and Death album. And before I get too far into this, please like this video, subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot of new stuff that's going to be coming, some live performances, and so I'm working on a version 2.0 of this album. That's the whole reason why that I've been promoting these songs, because version 2.0 is going to be not a 4-track recording, but a true 96 kHz, a high definition audio rendition of the Life and Death album. So Cold Cruel World is track one, and because a little background on the album, the album concept is it's a concept album that goes from conception and birth all the way to death. And the very first song, appropriately titled Cold Cruel World, is about conception and birth. When you're listening to the song, if you listen really hard in the background, you can actually hear what sounds like sex going on, and that is actually intentional. In the mix, it doesn't really come out very well, though, so that's another reason why I'm going to be redoing the album. But yeah, so Cold Cruel World is about conception and birth, and the lyrics can be taken apart line by line, and analyzed for like what are those lyrics trying to convey in terms of the experience of conception and birth. An experience none of us remember, or probably 99.9999% of the people on earth do not remember being in utero, and or even being born. But the song is metaphorically speaking to this stage of life. So without further ado, these are the lyrics and breakdown of those lyrics for the song Cold Cruel World, which is my first track on my Life and Death 1.0 album. Okay, first line. 1 billion soldiers, equipped and strong, parading into lands unknown, knowing they will surely die. So this is basically describing sperm. Now, I don't know if there's a billion sperm or a million sperm or 10 million sperm. I just like the way the words flowed. But it gets the point across. It's like, millions or a billion or whatever soldiers. They're equipped, they're strong, they're parading into lands unknown, right? They are going to a new environment that they are unfamiliar with, and then they have to, and they know they will surely die. And I'm gonna qualify that statement, and they know, because I believe that every single sperm cell has an accompanying tentative or candidate soul attached to it, and the one that wins that battle gets to live this life. Now, we'll continue on with the lyrics. Each hoping he will be the one to break through the barrier and be granted everlasting life. So this is actually core to the whole, Western Christian-esque not totally Christian, but just the idea, the spiritual idea that we are spirits, and then we come into this life, into this flesh for this very short period of time, and then we leave. The idea is, if you can be the winner of that race, and isn't that funny how life starts as a competition, and it becomes a competition all the way through, from the first day you're born all the way to the day you die. You will be competing. You'll be competing with the forces of nature. You'll be competing with people. You'll be competing with circumstances. You'll be competing with your boss and your friends and your loved ones in major and minor ways, some obvious and some subtle. But you are going to be competing, and so you start your life competing for that spot. And this is the spot. The life that you have right now, that's the spot that you competed for. And that's why it's really a sin to throw it away on hedonistic, nihilistic ways of thinking. So each hoping he will be the one to break through the barrier and be granted everlasting life. So that's the sperm coming into the vagina, coming into the womb, and racing to make it to the egg, to break through the barrier of the egg. Moving on, the DNA life program commences execution. What happens once the sperm and the egg meet? It's like a flash of light. And I don't know how true that is, but I've seen some videos that suggest that there's some kind of an energy release once the sperm enters into the egg. And correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not likely going to argue with anybody in the comments about that, but I think that there's a spark that lights, and life starts immediately, like the moment the sperm enters the egg. And the life program, the DNA life program, that's a core concept that I believe, but didn't even understand when I wrote these lyrics in my early 20s. The DNA life program. Well, that's what it is. It's a program, right? 3 billion base pairs. Isn't that right? 3 billion base pairs of these proteins. It's like a programming language, and it will commence execution and start making new cells, connecting links in molecular chains to build the body human. Perfection in construction is the key to you and me. So, when you take a step back and think about it, our bodies are like a miraculous meat robot. We take this for granted, but it's just really a miracle that we're even here. It's a miracle that you're even able to listen to me talk. It's a miracle that human beings were able to create everything they've created up at this point, and we're going to continue to create until we either, escape the madness of our animal nature or kill ourselves off. But it's which would be really a shame. But so we're built in like perfect. We're perfect, right? With the exception of birth defects and things like that. The majority, and even that, I would have to argue that even that's a miracle and deserves its own autonomy. But yeah, so the DNA is the program that basically builds the blocks to make the human being, and in the gestation period of pregnancy. So moving on. This is the gestation period of pregnancy. Floating endlessly, wild and free, is how a perfect life should be. I think it's floating endlessly warm and free, but I'd have to go back and really listen to the original recording. But either way, that describes the sense of perfection that the infant embryonic human experiences as it develops in the womb. Now, birth comes, right? Your first sense of awareness in this long and endless dream is of being ripped away with enormous pain from the safety of the world you need. So that's your first foray into this world, right? You are ripped away from that warmth and that comfort and that safety of your mother and thrown out into this cold, cruel world. I try to metaphorically describe, that birth process by these lines in this section of the song. A thrashing fish taken out of the water. That one's pretty obvious, right? You take a fish out of the water, they're going to thrash around, right? That's what it's like when you come out of the womb. You start like thrashing and crying, and it's pretty violent and abrupt. A bulldozer plows down an ancient tree. Now, I've searched myself for like what is the actual deeper meaning of that line. And why did I put it in there? It wasn't just for, I don't put anything in just for a rhyme, right? There's not a single lyric of any one of my songs that are just like dropped in there just because it rhymes. There was some meaning to it. The only thing I can come up with is it is a metaphor for a violent tearing away of something that was peaceful and solid, being your perfect existence in the womb before you were born. That pretty much describes it in a way that makes sense to me now. But again, I was only in my early 20s when I wrote this. So, a cold slap in the naked face of reality. Well, we all know what that cold slap is, right? Right? And you cry for the end of a dream. And that is the conception and birth, right? You have millions or billions of sperm that are fighting to make their way in. Only one gets to get in. The spark of life ignites. The DNA builds the human body, and then it is torn away from the safety of the mother and thrown into the cold, cruel world. It's a cold, cruel world out there. It's a cold, cruel world out there. You never used to have a care, and it's a cold, cruel world out there. Okay, join me next time for track number 2, which is Drifting Away, which describes the period of time that we call infancy, when every day you're drifting further away from your mother into this cold, cruel world. This is Jerry Boutot. Remember, like, subscribe, share. I've got a live performance of the entire first Life and Death album, guitar parts, coming up soon, and keep an eye out for that. So you're going to want to at least subscribe to my channel so that you know when that's happening. Okay, Jerry Boutot, over and out. Peace. Have a good day. Later. Goodbye.